So dogs, what are we starting off with today? I think today we're going to be starting off with lacing up this hub right here to a rim that I have. It came off of this little 20-inch rim here. Nice little 8-speed internal hub. Got the shifter and the cable and stuff right there. And I think the dogs are going to be in my way for moving around here today, but we're going to put it on this thing. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to be going onto a bicycle, to mind you. It's kind of a secret thing for a customer. They want me to build a wheel, and they're using it on something. Really can't tell you. Doesn't have to do with bikes or even being on land. That's the only thing I can give you. I've already calculated out all my numbers that I need for the spokes. I could have done a video on that saying, you know, this is how I do it. So everybody has their own different ways of doing it. So use your normal way. There are spoke calculators online. That's how I calculate my stuff out. But I measure everything out first, get all my numbers, go onto a place online, it's usually SAPIM, I think that's how you say it, S-A-P-I-M. That's the one I used for these numbers. I used to use another one for the United Bicycle Institute, but I haven't been able to find that one since the beginning of this year. So, yeah, go over here and turn on the light. It's our little back room. Got our spoke machine way back there. So, yeah, let's start cutting some spokes. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a Fieldwood spoke machine before, but this is our spoke machine. It's kind of, you grab the handle and it kind of does this feeding action through, and it feeds the spoke through. Has some cutting blades inside of here, and they're actually like little grooves that are slotted sideways on both sides. So as it rolls it through, it actually doesn't cut a thread, it rolls a thread. So when it rolls the material actually flanges out and gets a little bit bigger, so it really bites into the nipples themselves. Yeah, they're a funny word, but that's what they're called. Got spokes and nipples, and then here you either have set where it's 100 millimeters plus, or at 100, because like see it says 29. So if I set that right there at the end, from there all the way to there, should cut it off at 290 millimeters. If I want it at 190 millimeters, then I go to that 100 mark. I don't know if you can really see it, 100. And you slide that over, and if you see that, it says like 190. Customer coming in. Let's check it out. Also wanted to show you to make sure you guys knew whenever you put the spoke in here to feed it through. My numbers are 259 and 258, so I'm only going to cut 16 spokes for one side and 16 spokes for the other side. I know it's only a millimeter difference, but I like to make sure it's that millimeter difference, because when you're tensioning it, it makes it faster. Instead of trying to over tension just to compensate for it, you're wasting your time. Just cut it at the right lengths. Maybe give it about a 1/4 of a millimeter extra, just so it gets some extra thread, and it makes it go so much faster. So accuracy is best. 259 is what I'm looking for. Actually, I'm going to cut these ones 258. So I like to start from the right one, the drive side first, and then the non-drive side. So that's set right there at 258 millimeters, and then the next one I'll push this over to 259 millimeters. See that? So that'll put the length of the spoke from here to here. Exactly what I'm going to want. So let's see, 258s. Drop the spoke down inside of there, just like that. Now, of course, I'm holding the camera, so I'm going to have to go from a different angle, but that's how you do it. And when it comes up, it comes and chops that thing off there. So let me kind of show you that. Let me take this out. So if you pull this up, if you put the spoke in there, because the spoke's going to be longer. See? Watch. See, the spoke sticks out longer, totally longer, and it chops it right there, right at the right length. So the distance between here and here is 259 or 258, where it's cut at right now. and see what would happen. This thing's going to come up and it goes ch-ch. It comes back, but see, that thing comes up and it chops the spoke all at the same time. See, it goes ch-chink, and then it would feed it through with that piece, feed the spoke right into here, boom, and then it will hold the spoke and roll it through, because that little extra little bit that it moves just right there, little extra bit, it starts the threads, and then it rolls the threads through and spits it out the back side back here. So let's show you that. Now that I've completely ghettofied a stand to hold my phone to record this, kind of show you how I kind of roll it through. Make sure I put this right in the end there, kind of pinch it a little bit here, roll it through, cuts it right off, and let it do its work. Boom. See, it comes right through. So I like to roll the threads through one more time just to make sure that they flange them really nicely. So kind of roll through that, and then one more time through just to make sure it's got some nice clean threads. Super clean. Bam. And of course we use, I don't think you can see that on the camera, but we use actual fillwood spokes, fillwood nipples. They work best, of course, with the machine, and we have the least problems with them. I mean, I like DT Swiss, I like Will Smith. I've used those in the past. There's, you know, the other wheel builder ones, but I prefer to use fillwood, especially around here in this area. So, let me get you a different angle. Sometimes if they don't go through, you kind of have to force them and see what happens. Every once in a while, get in a hurry, tries to peel them through, but you can always go through and again. Now, I've done 3 spokes already, and this thing's creeped just a hair, because when this thing kind of comes up and cuts it, it pushes back on it just a little bit. So you always want to check it every few spokes. See, for some reason this thing is just not cooperating with me. Let's try this again. Wonder what's going on. One more spoke. Let's try it out, see what happens. That one went right through. So sometimes it doesn't like a certain spoke. So we just throw that into the old spoke box there, because we can still cut that down for a BMX bike. Never throw them away. There it goes. See, it spit right out the other side. Alright, let's see if I can spin through these really fast. Alright, got all my spokes cut. Yeah, finally. Took me a minute to kind of do that. Customers kept coming and all that stuff. Got to take care of the customer. That's what makes your money. Got my 26-inch ram. Got my Alfine big monster hub here. And a couple things I like to do is I like to have this in a specific spot when you lace up the rim. You know, it says the little Shimano numbers on the back right there. Some of them will have like a symbol, like I9 has a symbol, and it says Industry 9 around the back. Since Industry 9 is written all the way across, I like having just the symbol in that specific spot that I'm looking for. And that spot I'm looking for is where the valve hole is, right there. When you look through the valve hole, I want to see that. I want to be able to see the Alfine, you know, so the valve hole will be pointing directly at that right there. So when you turn it all the way over, and you see the numbers from that, from the back side of it, then your labeling will be all the way on top and your valve will be down. And also, whenever you're doing that, this one has warning labels, and the warning label is on a specific side. So I want that facing the drive side. That way when they turn it over, they can read the warning. Turn it over this way, they can read all the labeling and everything else. It just cosmetically looks a lot better that way. So let's get to lacing here a little bit. I don't know how you guys lace anything, but I usually start with one side of cross, the other side cross, and then just follow the pattern around. Got my spokes separated, my 258s, 259s, and then I like my cross. We're doing a 3 cross here, so I like the outside spokes to pull for some reason. I don't know, it's just my own personal preference. Some guys like to have them where when you turn them over it looks exactly the same as when you turn it over this way. I just like to have it where, you know, the outside ones are doing the pulling and the inside ones are doing the pushing. For propulsion purposes. I don't know. It doesn't do any damage. I don't think so. It does it? I don't know. Maybe. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to find where my middle of that is because that's where I want my valve hole. And then we're going to count basically 5 different spoke holes and find out where the middle of that's at. Because a 3 cross here, you're going to be using 5 holes of separation between one direction and another direction. So that right there would put my Alfine in the wrong spot. If I turn it over this way by 1 hole, boom, that would put my Alfine right in about the right spot that I want, because my valve hole is going to be in the middle and my cross is going to start off at an angle like this, and my Alfine is going to be in the middle. So I'm going to go from here, pull through, here, 2, 3, 4, 5, go over, this should be the right one. And it looks like it's just a little bit over too far, so I don't know. I think I'm going to go ahead and go over 1 hole, so instead of it trying to be the Shimano and the Alfine lined up in the middle. Actually, you know what? No, I will like that. Yeah, I am going to do it like that. Okay, cool. So now when I cross my spokes, we're just going to meet at the rim. The valve's going to be right here. And then you see the labeling right there. Because the valve's going to be straight up right about in the middle of these things. So let me kind of show you that real quick. Customer wanted some black spokes, black nipples. Give me a little less corrosion for the application that they're doing. So, show you my tray will fill with nipples. And I'd like to start my cross just like this, man. So do this. Notice there's my valve hole. I don't know if you can see that. Valve hole. Got my drive side started on my cross already. This will be my non-drive side. And the Shimano Alfine's right in line with the valve hole right there. See it? Bam. That's how it's going to be. That's what I do. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Flip her over, and then that one in there. Basically making a mirror of it. Not a copy, a mirror. Just the opposite of what it would be. Boom. Stick those 2 through there. Nipples on. Boom. So now I've basically got my wheel started. Got 1 section already done. So if I just kind of follow around doing 1 set of spokes one way and doing another spokes the other way, go from there. Go ahead and do the drive side. Drop all the ones that are going to be the harder ones to do at first, which are going from the outside flange here and coming in. Because you kind of have to bend all the other spokes out of the way to get this thing through there. Boom. So now I'm going to put all those ones in on that side going in this direction. I'm going to do that side. And I'm going to do the same with the other side. These through. And then I'm just going to skip my holes. So I don't know if you guys can see the holes there, but there's a series of 5 holes. The 5th one down, where you count over, you know, this is the non-drive side, non-drive side, drive side. Since I'm only doing 1 section of the drive side, I'm going to skip it all the way over to there and go that way. And I'm going to follow the pattern around just like this. Boom. Non-drive, drive, non-drive, drive. and just follow it around like that. So I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll see the other side. Now I've got at least one direction all done. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. It's kind of thin, but near the valve hole here, I got my cross, my 3 cross right here, already set, ready to go. And then all the ones that are going inward and then coming up to the rim, I've already done. Because going from the inside out and then lacing it through on the other direction makes it's way easier that way for me. I know a lot of guys, they just do it whatever way they want to do, but that's the way I do. So what I'm going to do here is take all the drive side spokes that I've got left, because I've already got one that's in there for the cross. It's already got it started, so I'm not going to lose my position. That's all set. That's all ready to go. That's already done deal. So if you're anal about lining stuff up and have it being cosmetically correct, well, there you go. You don't have to worry about it. If it's not cosmetically correct, then too bad. So dropped all those in there. Over here. And now I'm just going to kind of make sure they're all going in the right direction here. And there's one going that way. So I'm going to try to see if I can bounce this on my lap without the spoke screwing me up here. There we go. And then we're going to bend this around and come through underneath. It's coming through, goes underneath it, comes back around and goes up to the rim. And then I put a nipple on there, turn a little bit. Now I've got an actual nipple driver, which is super handy for building wheels and stuff. There's 2 different lengths. This is the short one, and they make one that's like really long, like that much longer. It's crazy because there's really deep dish rims. So then you just kind of continue the whole entire pattern around, and then I just go from hole to hole, and then you do the second side, do the other side the same exact way. You know, just in the opposite direction. You're going to go this way instead of going that way. And that's it, man. I mean, that's how I lace some wheels. So, I don't know if I'm just talking too much or what have you, but see, that's going to go underneath it, come up, go right to it. Now, this one's a little harder because this hub is very heavy. This is an extremely heavy hub, so if you like doing it on a stand, do it on a stand, go for it. I don't like doing it on a stand for some reason. I've never gotten used to doing it on a stand. Always done it by hand here. I think mostly because when I started learning, I kind of taught myself at home. I didn't have a stand. You know, I'd go and lace it at home, and I'd go to the shop and true intention it, and boom, I'd have myself some built wheels. I did that for a lot of customers. Kind of made a lot of money on the side back in the day. Not so much anymore. People just don't want to spend the money on doing it. They're looking for a good deal on the internet. Everybody wants a good deal on the internet. So what I tell them is, go for it. Go on the internet, get a great deal. When you break it, bring it to me. I'll fix it for you. You know? You want me to build you some wheels and your nice bike that you bought off the internet? Okay, perfect. I'll do it. Not a problem. So, see how I've already done one whole entire side here. It wants to go on there. And if you have trouble with deep dish rims, see I have one side already done. I just got to do the other side. See that? Pretty cool, huh? And like I was saying, if you have trouble with the rim being too deep, there's this thing right here. I used to use a spoke back in the day and kind of thread the end of the nipple on there and put it through there. This thing's really, really nice. It's chrome moly. I don't even know who makes it, but it's tapered. Just like that. It's got a little cup thing so you can push stuff down into the rim. It's the same size as the holes normally drilled in it. And the end of the nipple goes right on there, dude. I mean, and it does any size, and it stays on there. It's pretty crazy. And it comes off. I mean, it's just got little little circles on it, so when you put it on there, it just stays on there. Dude, they're sick. Anyways, let me finish up the other side of that wheel and we'll get to truing, okay? All done lacing this thing up, and Want to see what I mean by lining everything up? There's the valve hole right there. There's the Shimano Alfine, and then if you look beyond that, you see the labeling, of course, of the wheel beyond the valve hole. And then if I turn the whole thing around here, you can see the valve hole off in the distance, and you see the Shimano number there. So it always makes it easy to locate and stuff. And then also when I put on tires, I always put like the labels or the pressure of the tire near the valve. That way it just looks better and you know what direction it's going to go into, and it makes things easier. I'm going to go over this real quick with you guys just to show you the whole rim and everything else. And then what I do is, see, I got some trifle in my hand here, and I like to go around and lube up all the little nipples and stuff. And if you're asking me why I do this, it's because many years ago when I was building wheels for a race team, we got sponsored by Velocity. And we're talking, this is back in late 90s, early 2000s. And I could never get the wheels tight, and I just couldn't understand it. And I called Velocity, and he said, hey, just put some lube on the nipples. I said, no, I only put spoke prep on it. He says, no, you got to put some spoke on the outside of the nipples where it meets up against there, because their machines had cut them so sharply they would dig into the nipple and it wouldn't let them turn. It acted kind of like a lock nut. Sucked. So put some lube on it. Oh man, tightened everything up. Never had a problem after that. So those are all lubed up. Let me go get you from another angle so I can show you what I'm going to do here to tension everything. Actually, let me grab my nipple driver, and we're going to go over here. I want to kind of show you this. There's, I don't know if you can really see it very well, but on the ends of all these spokes there's a little bit of thread that's exposed. And what I like to do is I like to get all these spokes evened up to where that little bit of thread just disappears. And then I'll go around and I'll do an even amount of turns both sides, and I'll see what happens from there when I need to true and tension after that. Those are all set. So I'm going to go around and just start tightening them a little bit. I need to just count my turns, but I'm only going to do the drive side first. Then I'm going to do the non-drive side. That's the way I do it. Some guys like to do it other ways, but this is the way I like to do it. So still got a lot of work to do. Let me finish this, and then we'll go on to the true intentioning. Now we got this thing all built up. Got a little bit of looseness in the spoke still. It's not too bad. It's got a little bit of tension to it, but it's actually not too bad. So I haven't even, oops, about falling my butt here. I haven't treated in tension or nothing. All I did was I just wound all the nipples back down to where they're supposed to be. And so I'm going to go ahead and start truing it up here a little bit. So let's kind of show you how I'm doing it. Alright, so let's get to some truing here. And that ain't no lie. Bad joke. I know. Just leave the bad jokes to me. I can take care of all of them. So, of course, our favorite spoke wrench is one of these Cyclone something, I can't remember which one it is, but it's a badass chromoly spoke wrench. Has two different sides on it, and you just kind of discover which one fits tighter, which one fits a little bit looser. Ooh, that one really loose right there. And then you just kind of going around. So remember, all these spokes are still kind of a loose state, So let me kind of see if I can move the camera a little bit over. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. Ooh, it started to tension up a lot there. And the reason why I do this part by hand is so I can feel the tension of the spokes. Basically, once your fingers start screaming, that's when you know it's ready to stop. Ooh, I got one spoke that really didn't like to get cut. So I just kind of go through it. May need to replace that one. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. Remember, you do one side first. You don't do one end because then you become ovalized in your rim there. This keeps the rim in round because I already pretty much had it evenly in round. Not perfect because there's not enough tension on it to make sure of that. So just go around a few different turns. And don't be alarmed, this is just because all these spokes are so loose. So don't try to overdo it with the nipple driver either on the other side. Mostly that it doesn't round off the back side of the nipple on the back. It may weaken the nipple. You never know. I think it might. I don't know. Who knows? So now they're starting to tension up pretty nicely. The bit about this is trying to even the tension just the way you want it. It's so even. Now let's see how bad it is. Once you tension it, it's always off. See? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out if it's going up or down. And it looks like it's kind of even going up and down, so I'm going to feel all these spokes and feel which one I need to do. So I need to pull it that way, so I'm going to tighten the one on that drive side. Then another whole turn and a half. Maybe 2 turns. Ooh, now look at it. Now we're going that direction. On that side, we're going down or up. See, this side's going up now. And what I'm doing is I'm looking here, right in here, to see if the rim is going up and down and if it's going from side to side that way. So up and down, side to side by looking at the calipers here. I should be able to give you guys a better view here in just a second, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it, not even using the calipers yet, just kind of doing it by what I think looks kind of okay and just a little rough look into it. See, now it's pretty straight, but we got a little bit of a hop to it, so I'm going to bring this caliper up and I'm going to figure out which ones I need to do. So it needs to come this way a little bit. There it is. That's the stuff I need to tighten. Yes. See, that was kind of a little bit looser than the other ones. So this whole section is a little loose. It's falling down. See, and then going around, feel it. Start with this. And so this takes a little bit of time here and there. I'm going to show you guys real quick the before and the after here. So I've tried to tension up a little bit, trying to get the hop out of it a little bit. You can see there's still a little bit of a hop in it. It still kind of goes from side to side a little bit. Let me spin it really fast and try to hold it still so you can tell. You can tell it has a little bit of hop here and there. I'm going to get all that out and I'll show you in just a second what it looks like. Okay, let's check it out. Alright, now that I've got it pretty much all tensioned up, and we're not tensioned up, but trued how I like it, and no hop, trued this way, I'm going to go around and I'm going to squeeze all the spokes and pre-stretch them out as much as I possibly can, because they need to be stretched. Because if you don't, they'll stretch out as you ride, and they'll set as you ride, and then the whole wheel goes. Then again, I know this is not being used on a bicycle, it's for a special project, but we still have to have it balanced. So, another way I like to do it after I squeeze all these, take it out of the stand, and I'll actually push on the sides, put it on the ground, and push it down like this. There we go. Now let's see. My tension is good and my feel is correct in my hands, shouldn't really have too much going on there. I don't know if you guys can see that there, but it's actually pretty true. I guess the only thing left to do is to finish up the tension and all that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much how I build wheels. I don't know how you guys build wheels, but that's just kind of my little rundown. Every wheel's different, and you have to build thousands of wheels in order to really master it. You know, I've been building wheels for 30 years, 25 to 30 years, somewhere around there. Used to build wheels for race teams, so I don't know. Your hands start to hurt after a while, so try not to do it for a living if you can. Just do it as a hobby. Yeah, let me finish this up and show you what the end result is. I'm just gonna get rid of that little scrapage there, check the tensions, and I'll show you what my chain tensioner is gonna, or my spoke tensioner, tensiometer will tell you. I almost forgot to mention to everybody here, lots of times where these things cross over, where the spoke bends over the hub itself, especially on smaller flanged hubs, it stretches over time and actually bends that end of the spoke over the side of over the edge of the hub itself. So I always take like my tire lever here and kind of just go in there and kind of push on it, pull on it. So I'm pushing on the spoke that's coming out of the hub and going that way, and I'm pulling up on the spoke that's going through the hub going that way. So just kind of go over there and just make sure you really set it really nicely, and that'll also help the flange hole itself from kind of flaring out a little bit. It squares the hook, the J bend of the spoke a little bit better, I think. Just seems to help. It's always seemed to help. So every little bit counts, man. Every little bit counts. All right, guys, sitting here trying to show you we got this Will Smith tensiometer here, which we're going to check our pressure. So what we want to do is squeeze that a couple times. Make sure that this 0 line, it'll focus here a little bit. Let's see if it'll focus a little bit. There we go. That's 0. And as it squeezes more and more and more, and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, these things are going to get closer and closer together. So as I'm going to do this, let's go ahead and put the focus back on. Get your standard spoke here, put that over like this, squeeze it, and then I'm going to get it to grab that spoke. Even though it's kind of short, I'm going to go from there. So then if I can do another focus here, where's that? Come on, focus in. Boom. See, my tension's at about 80. If I was going to have this guy ride this bike, I would probably have it a little bit tighter than that, 80. But he's not using it for riding on, so we'll see what happens, right? All right, cool. That's how you check them. Probably shouldn't be putting any pressure on this boat, but I'm trying to hold the wheel at the same time and hold the camera at the same time. But that's how you check it. So it's a little over 80 pounds of pressure. Okay guys, so that's the wheel I've been building today a little bit. Showed you how to cut the spokes, did all my other stuff to it. You know, showed you all the spoke tension and all that stuff, and showed you nice and straight, the whole 9 yards. Now the spoke calculator that I used for this, I noticed the spokes were just a little bit longer than I'd like. They stuck out of the nipple just a little bit too much. So that Sapim website spoke calculator that it has, it gives you two options. It says it gives you a rim diameter from, you know, from like here to there, and then it wants you to measure the thickness of the rim. Don't worry about putting in the thickness of the rim unless you're adding like a nipple washer or something like that, because these things have stuck out quite a bit. I don't know if you guys can see that too well. They actually stuck out quite a bit in there. I mean, safety wise it's okay. This isn't going to be ridden as a bike, but I normally wouldn't want that. I'd want it to be a little bit more perfect, but hey, as it is. So thanks guys. Anything else, leave comments.